Welcome, everyone, to the Lansing Catholic Podcast. I have two guests in the studio today. First of all, Miss Ava Sullivan, a senior. Welcome, Ava.
Thank you.
And also Miss Madi Martin, also a senior.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. And we're going to talk about these small groups that we've started this year. So let me give a little bit of context, and then we'll ask for your input on this. So basically, a new endeavor of campus ministry this year is to have small groups that meet here in the building. It's about 5 to 6 students. It's totally voluntary, and there is an adult mentor that is assigned to that group, and they meet once a week, and it's meant to be a place where you can certainly talk about your faith and grow in your relationship with Jesus, but also just talk about life and support one another in your journey through high school. And hopefully, above all, the goal is to help you keep the faith, not only here in school, but also beyond once you're in college. It's kind of brand new, and if I'm correct, you are in the very first official group. Is that right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
So how many girls are in that group total?
We have 7.
Plus a mentor?
Yes.
And how did that start? Like, who was the one that kind of pulled it all together? Because it has to come from the students, right? We don't make you do this. So I'm curious how that happened.
I think it was kind of a collective effort. We all wanted a small group, and we're like, oh, well, if we all want to do it, then.
Yeah, none of us wanted to be apart from each other, so we decided to have a little bit more than we were supposed to, but Miss Gailey allowed it.
So you were already in the same friend group, more or less, and you knew you had this desire. And then how did you hear about the small groups?
I think Miss Gailey came in and talked to us, and so did the theology teachers.
Because we've talked about it in lots of different venues, so I'm just curious, like, where it actually stuck. We talked about it at the retreat with all the underclassmen as well, so hopefully I think there were a few groups that are now in the works from that. About how many times have you met now? How long have you been in an official group now?
So we've been in a group for a couple of weeks. I think we've had like 5 or 6 meetings.
I think 6.
And one of the guidelines for these groups is that they meet outside of school hours, which can be a challenge. How do you find a time? So what time have you all settled on for your group?
We all get here at 6:45, so that everyone has arrived by 7 to start.
6:45 in the morning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we eat donuts for about 15 minutes while everyone arrives.
Yeah, and we have blankets, and we turn the lights off, so
Hot
it's
chocolate.
very comfy in there.
Oh, this sounds great. Can I be part of this group? So tell us a little bit about what you do then. You already talked about hot chocolate, blankets, donuts. That's a good start. What else happens in your small group time?
So outside of the small group time, we listen to an episode of a podcast per week, and then we kind of reflect on that, and then we come together as a group and discuss it and see what everyone thinks.
Yeah, and then we also do like highs and lows of our entire week or our weekend or just like the day in general. We like to see how each other are doing and check in on one another.
So you listen to the podcast on your own time?
We all listen to it in the car on the way to school because it's like 15 minutes.
There you go.
We decided to do that because we didn't want to cut into too much of our discussion time, so we just kept it outside.
And I'm curious, what podcast are you listening to? You don't know?
It might
You're
be,
giving me
it's
quizzical
mobile,
looks.
Is it Mobile for Mission? It's
you know who it is?
It's like
it's Father
something.
Ricardo, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay, I was like, yeah, Father John Ricardo. He's done a lot of stuff, and his content is really good. So, how has this changed your friendship group, your group of friends? How has this made a difference?
I feel like we remained like as close as we are, but now I feel like we're more comfortable to talk about more personal and deeper things with each other than before.
And also more faith-based things, I would say.
So it's brought your relationship to a deeper level overall?
Yes.
I would say so.
And why do you think that matters? Like, why should students put an effort in that way?
I think being able to share your faith with others is very important because like when you can tell others how you're feeling and they can help you become better, and you can also help them in the same way so they can be better disciples of Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's also important to have people that you feel comfortable sharing your faith with, that it's not someone that's completely new to the faith, but someone who shares the same beliefs as you, so you can kind of build off of each other.
Yeah, and then when you're with your friends, it's easier to open up rather than like at a small group at a retreat when you're with a random assortment of people, which can be very helpful at times, but for something as consistent as a once-a-week small group, it's very helpful to have your friends.
Now, sometimes I think about just the high school experience and the danger of just being one more student in the herd, so to speak. and not really being known. Is this a way in which you think high schoolers could find that in a healthy way in a high school environment, or is it just kind of one of those churchy things you're supposed to do?
I think it's very helpful for me, and I think it's kind of helping us to build our identities closer to Christ and not just kind of like, oh, we're like everyone else.
Yeah, it's a fun opportunity for us to share our faith and to grow in it every day. And we don't just talk inside a small group. We still talk with each other all the time, and we'll bring up stuff about small group. And I think it just makes us more well-rounded as students and as Christians and Catholics, and helps us have the best relationship we can with one another.
Now, you're about halfway through your senior year, so I don't know if you have thought about this yet, but is there any talk about how this would continue once you've all graduated and maybe go your separate ways?
Yeah, I think we're just trying to build like healthy habits that we can carry on our day-to-day life, which I guess that can go to college too.
And what has it been like having an adult mentor involved in this? Because obviously you had your friend group before this, but now you have Miss Gailey that meets with you. So how has that changed things?
I think it's nice to have a facilitator, and she's fairly close to our age, so it's not like she is super different from us. She shares kind of the same experiences as us, but knows how to react to them in a healthier way. It's better guidance.
I would also say that we kind of like made her one of our friends too, like especially during small group. We're able to have this like personal and more intimate relationship with each other rather than like a teacher just you see once a day during class. And we even like to see her outside of small group and visit her office and just spend time with her and like let her know how we're doing.
I asked Miss Gailey when I was trying to find a couple of girls to do this interview, I said, so your group seems to hang out in your office now and then. When could I find them hanging around? She's like, well, during our small group time, between every single class, before school, after school. So it's good that you have that space in the school to kind of connect like that. If you were going to pitch this to other students, try to convince them to join a small group, what would you say to them to tell them that this is a good idea?
I guess you could start with deciding for yourself if you want to grow more in your faith, and then talking with your friends about it to see if they feel the same as you. And then after that, I guess you could take a group of your friends or just figure out who wants to be in like what small group, and then just decide to plan it together.
I think friendship is a beautiful way to grow closer to God with other people because, we're meant to live in community with each other. And I think that small groups are a great way to do that because they are facilitated and there is content to build on. It's not just random.
If you think about it, this is the basic model that Jesus himself shows us in the Gospels. He didn't just go and randomly spend time with all kinds of people. He had his close followers first and foremost, the 12 apostles, and he spent the majority of his time with them. And then they all went off and preached the gospel in their own way. And it's sort of like we're doing the same thing here, or attempting to do that here, where we have our small group where you really invest in each other and try to grow together in your faith. And then from that place of growth, you can then go out into wherever else God takes you in your life. So it's exciting to see how this is playing out in our school. We certainly hope and pray that more groups will form as time goes on. So for any parents who might be listening, please pray for this endeavor. It's still kind of in the very beginning stages, but it is growing, and I'm hopeful that more and more of these groups will form so that our students can not only know one another and help support each other, but might know and love the Lord in all that they do here at Lansing Catholic. So thanks for listening, everyone. Be sure to tune in next time for all the latest here at Lansing Catholic. I'm Father Joe.
And I'm Madi.
And I'm Ava.
And we'll see you next time.